We have 31 million users in Europe. So whilst Decathlon may not be the first place you think of in the UK, in Europe it usually is. So it gives the sellers an opportunity to access a huge market for an incredibly popular brand. And as I touched on earlier, once a brand is approved for sale in one country, it's approved for sale in all countries.
Welcome back to another episode of Selling Strategies. Now, today's episode is for all you sporting goods retailers out there, because we are speaking to none other than the mighty Decathlon. Today, we've got James Kelly with me, who's the Senior Partner Success Manager at Decathlon. Just want to give me a couple of lines in terms of what your role is there at Decathlon?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Really glad to be here. So I've been at Decathlon for just over 3 years now. So I was there for the launch of the marketplace, and I oversee the partner success team. So we look after our sellers and also the customer service team as well.
I think let's just start at the top. Why Decathlon? Let's say I'm a retailer, I've got my own website set up, I'm selling on Amazon, maybe a couple of other marketplaces. Decathlon is an opportunity. Like, what is the opportunity for me?
Well, as you say, we are the world's largest sports retailer. So it's a great opportunity to use the Decathlon name to leverage your brand, or leverage our brand, I should say. We operate an invitation-only approach. So all of our sellers are carefully selected to make sure we have the top quality products. We have a human approach from start to finish. So throughout your journey of onboarding with Decathlon, you'll have someone there to speak to you. We'll have someone help you set up your store, help you get your products online. And then when everything's live, you'll have a dedicated account manager to really help you through that process and help you make the most success you can out of our platform. So we're also the fastest growing business unit at Decathlon. Sales grew 80% year on year in 2023, and we're continuing that trend this year so far.
Yeah, it's interesting just because that market, but we're seeing more and more established large retailers setting up their own marketplaces now. Yourselves, obviously a few years ago, B&Q, Mountain Warehouse. So it's an interesting trend as we're witnessing the evolution of marketplaces, for sure. What types of sports products would you say are most popular on Decathlon? Are there any trends you see at the product level?
So hiking, camping are absolutely huge for Decathlon. Decathlon's first party offering is big in that space. So we see a lot of customers come to us for those products, but then also cycling, which is huge for us, and water sports as well, which really took off. I mean, in 2023, stand-up paddleboards were one of our best-selling products, and that was all year round as well. So you're kind of thinking, why are we selling so many paddleboards in February? It's freezing, but it's an incredibly popular product set for us. But that's not to say that other categories don't do well. We now sell over 90 different types of sports. So a good product priced competitively will thrive on our platform. Two
pillars there. Yeah, good product, good price. Any other broader trends that you're seeing, like in the sporting goods sector at all? Like any consumer behaviors that you could speak to?
Yes, we're seeing a rise in the popularity of what we call our second life products. So these may be refurbished, there may be seconds, there may even be box damaged. And if you look at sort of amongst our top 10 selling products, a handful of those will be our second life. So it's incredibly popular. I've spoken to a lot of sellers who have stock just kind of sitting around. They get returns, they maybe put it in a warehouse and strip them for parts, but we encourage and enable sellers to list those products with us. And we have noticed over the last few months and years that, these are incredibly popular with people now, because, you buy a bike and at 40% off just because the box is damaged, and people are gravitating towards that.
And just with such a high rates of return, and there's a huge burgeoning market for these sorts of things. So it definitely makes sense. You mentioned that you're invite only, but I just want to kind of walk through what the steps of that would be. If I'm a sports retailer, want to get on Decathlon, what's the process? So
the first step is for us to approve the brand. So we want something that's going to be, we're looking for leading sport brands that are complementary to the Decathlon offer. Once the brand's been approved, we then move through the KYC, the Know Your Customer checks. We support sellers through the whole process. After that, we'll set you up with your own onboarder who will help you get your shop settings correct, make sure that your delivery promise is accurate, get your products online, make sure everything looks good, everything reads good. And then finally, we will send you over to an account manager to finalize the launch of the account. And we tend to see that this takes about 30 days.
Is there criteria that a retailer needs to meet in order to be invited to the marketplace?
Not necessarily a criteria. It's more on the brand level. So we have a number of data points that we need to qualify before we accept a brand, because we want to make sure that it's going to be relevant and popular enough. But one of the good things with our brand approval is, and something we'll probably come on to later, is once a brand is approved in one country, it's then approved for sale in all of our available countries.
Limworks published a report earlier this year called The State of Commerce Ops, and what we found was that retailers are after two key things: accessing more markets and connecting to more marketplaces. So I just want to focus on the market piece, because I know Decathlon can actually facilitate this. Just specifically, look, what is the opportunity for sporting goods retailers in terms of accessing Europe through Decathlon?
We have 31 million users in Europe. So whilst Decathlon may not be the first place you think of in the UK, in Europe it usually is. So it gives the sellers an opportunity to access a huge market for an incredibly popular brand. And as I touched on earlier, once a brand is approved for sale in one country, it's approved for sale in all countries. So you could be a relatively small brand that gets approved in the UK, and that means you're automatically approved to sell in the whole of Europe in front of those 31 million customers.
So say if I'm looking at selling France, for example, and then kind of get that set up, to then start selling in Germany or other countries, it would be, like, what would that kind of process look like then?
It's pretty quick. I mean, once you have one store set up, especially if you're looking at just like the euro currency, for example, it's almost a one-click duplication into other countries. So there's some things we need to check off, like is the product information available in local language? Do you have customer service in the local language? But from there, as I said, it's very easy to duplicate into our other countries. And if there's ever an issue with having stock in the EU, because we find that is quite common, we also offer a very competitively priced fulfillment service in Europe as well. So we can handle all of your shipping, your returns, and stock control.
Okay, so just to dig a little bit further into this, let's say I'm a business owner, I'm selling successfully on Decathlon, I want to start selling in France, for example. So what's the step-by-step process that I need to be doing to get started?
Okay, the first step is to contact your account manager, let them know what countries you're looking to sell in. The account manager will go through all of the different things we need to check off our list, basically to say, okay, you're now ready to sell in Europe. You'll have your dedicated onboarder still who will go through everything. We support our sellers throughout the whole process, so from start to finish.
Is there like an average time that takes, out of interest?
It depends on the speed of the seller. We have done duplications, assuming everything is already in place. So a number of our sellers already sell in Europe anyway, so they have the company registration number, they have the stock there. We can turn it around in a couple of weeks.
Any inspiring stories?
I would look to our seller Pretender Global, who actually sell in all of our European markets. So yeah, they're in 14 countries and doing very well with that as well. They've also expanded into Australia as well, which is slightly out of my remit. But yeah, the duplication speed is incredible, and we can open those shops to them really quickly. But it's not just the big players. We also have some smaller brands that we're working with to really introduce their brands into Europe as well.
So yeah, you're kind of playing both ends of the field. Yeah. So let's talk about the future of Decathlon. You've obviously got the online marketplace that's going to factor in here, but how is Decathlon evolving? What is selling through Decathlon going to look like over the next few years?
I touched on it earlier, I was talking about second life products. So we're really focusing on our sustainability, making sure products are built to last. We don't want products ending up just in a cupboard, or worse, even in landfill. So making sure products are built to last, and they're also eco-designed as well. That's a big thing for us. Our key mission at Decathlon is to move people through the wonders of sport, and you may associate Decathlon with having good quality products, competitive prices, very focusing on that beginner angle. But you'll see with the relaunch we had recently of the Van Rysel brand, that we're really looking to cater for those intermediate and advanced users as well. And the marketplace is going to support that.
James, last question. I just want 3 tactics that Decathlon sellers can go away and implement today?
Okay, so the first one would be high quality images and as many as possible. High quality content. We do see some products come online where it's like yoga ball green, and that's the title, that's the description, and people just aren't going to look for that. So high quality content is absolutely key. The next one is to have an impressive delivery promise as well. So, people are used to getting their products as soon as possible. If they order on a Monday, they don't want it the following Monday. So delivery promise is key. And the third thing would be to have outstanding customer service as well. So if there are any issues, we make sure that we want to deliver an absolute first-class service for our customers.
It's interesting, just with the product images, everyone I've had on this series has said the same thing. It's the basics, but you've got to do the basics.
Yeah. So with the Decathlon marketplace at the moment, you can have 7 images and 2 videos as well. So the videos are also really key because you want to see that product being used, and with the images, as many sort of views of the image, people using it. You want to sort of get an idea of what that product's like.
All right, James. Thanks very much for coming down. It's been great having you and giving us all lots more insight into the workings of Decathlon.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.